What 5 plugins do you use every time when mixing? And you know, I've got quite a few that I religiously use every single mix. And the first one is the Ampex ATR 102. I have that at the start of every single bus, and the reason being is it's simulating running onto tape, and it gives you a lovely kind of warm, lack of a better word, a kind of a glue that you don't get with other plugins. A kind of a detail and a sheen with everything. And I know I could bypass every single Ampex ATR on the mix, and the mix doesn't necessarily fall apart, it just lacks a lot of definition. So that one would be the Ampex ATR 102. Another EQ that I use in the mixing religiously, I have this again on every single bus, and that is split EQ. And the reason for that is that it's unlike any other EQ. Basically, split EQ splits the EQ into kind of transients and tonal, so you can adjust the tonal qualities of the band as well as the transient qualities. That's a really beneficial EQ, especially on kick drums. You can drive that kick, pull that kick right out of the kind of punch right out of that kick. Same with snares, great for everything like that. Little kind of arps and things like that in more electronic music. Use the high end to really kind of get the top end kind of clicking and pumping and pulsing a bit. Really effective, that is. Another EQ would be FabFilter Pro-Q3. I have FabFilter Pro-Q3 on the end of every bus, and the reason for that is I can utilize the analyzer at the end of each stage on the buses. That's really effective and really nice to have. Also, it's a great EQ that does literally everything you need it to do. I also use FabFilter Pro-Q3 to do any roll, if I need to roll any sounds off. Because you've got the analyzer, it's the one plugin that I use every time for rolling any unwanted noise out, and I do all my surgical EQ in Pro-Q3. And the reason for that is you've got the analyzer there to help you, and it's a really effective analyzer. And I also use the analyzer on the master bus, just so I can analyze when I'm mastering, and even any channel, anything I need to analyze, I use Pro-Q3. And the reason for that is because, you know, I know the analyzer so well. Another plugin that I use religiously, what's that, number 4 now, would be Soothe 2. Soothe 2 removes all resonance from the tracks. I will use this a lot, and it's one of those tools where there's nothing like it out the box. I'll use it in mastering as well a lot. I'll have one before I come out the box into the mastering chain. I'll have one when I come back in the box. Basically, Soothe will move with the song, removing the resonance as the song changes. So it's very different to something like a de-esser, which is like a fixed band. This is actually moving with the song. A prime example of this is if you ever use a what do they call it, like a rainmaker or a chime or something like that. The frequency range changes, and when the frequency range changes, so does Soothe. So Soothe's not just removing the resonance from one specific point, it's as that frequency, that resonance moves up the frequency range, Soothe moves with it. So that's a really effective tool. Again, I'll have one of them at the very end of every chain. The one tool that I do have for the plugin I have for saturation is the Blackbox HG2. And the reason I use the plugin version is because I know the hardware so well from mastering with it and having it in analog format. I find it very effective to use it in the same way and looking at it in the same way I look at the hardware in the box when working with plugins. It's somewhat a limited saturation plugin in terms of a plugin. Like you could use what is it, Saturn 2, I think it is, by FabFilter. That's a far more versatile version of it, but I don't actually feel that you can get as good, or it's it's maybe, I'll tell you what, it's maybe more a case of is that it's instantly pleasing to just go Bosch, and it's straight away you've got a great sound with the HG2, whereas with Saturn you've got to really tinker with it and make sure you are getting the sound that you want, whereas the HG2 straight in, bang, it gets the sound that I want. Yeah, so I mean, they're the 5 that I use every single mix. They will always be on. They will always be on each bus. So the Ampex ATR 102, Split EQ, the Black Box HG2, Soothe 2, and what was the other one? FabFilter Pro-Q3.